Namaskar. Hello everyone. Welcome to the 21st episode of this special show, Money and Prosperity. I'm Ashok Vyas, Program Director with ITV Gold and founder of Insight for Creativity. We are in the middle of tax season and all of the dreaded tax bills. However, this hurts retirees the most, as we were discussing in our last episode. In today's episode, we will discuss taxation of retirement income with Paresh Ji. Paresh Shah is the managing principal of Paresh Shah Partners LLC. He is a certified financial planner and wealth strategist. For the last 22 years, he has helped individuals and businesses co-create innovative financial strategies. He is a licensed CPE presenter. He has educated CPAs as they guide their clients on investments, life, disability, and long-term care insurance. He specializes in pension planning, profit sharing plans, asset protection, estate planning, and business succession planning. Paresh Ji graduated as a chemical engineer, honors graduate from the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology at Kharagpur, India. He is a 2016 honoree for Long Island Business News Leaders in Diversity Awards. He resides in the town of Hicksville in Long Island, New York, with his wife Shimul and son Shamik. And as we continue today's episode, our discussion of taxation of retirement income, Paresh Ji, last time was quite, one would say, eye-opener or a little bit shocking to learn a few things about tax implications after retirement. And I think many of us started thinking that in order to plan properly, there are many factors and many variables that we need to pay attention to. So while we were appreciating it, I personally, it was a little confusing. And so let's go towards a recap of what we discussed in the last episode.
Sure. First of all, thank you, Ashok Ji, for the warm introduction. I think this topic itself, taxation of retirement income and taxation of social security, it becomes very, very critical because, we have a lot of people who go into their retirement thinking that social security income is not going to be taxed. And when it does become taxed, then it becomes a bit of a challenge because the income can be drastically reduced, as we saw last time. I want to just briefly into some of the things that we talked about last time. First thing we talked about was a calculation which has to be done on your tax return when you are taking social security. That calculation is called provisional income. And provisional income is the sum of all your earned income, capital gain, dividends, rents, interest on your municipal bonds. All those incomes are put together, and along with that is added 50% of your social security income. Let's say all your other income is, say, 60,000 and social security is 30,000, then total 75,000 is your provisional income. Now, if you're married and filing jointly, if your income, provisional income is below 32,000, then you do not pay tax on your social security income.
Correct.
If it is between 32 and 44,000, then 50% of your social security income, that means we said 30,000 was the social security income, 15,000 will be added into your income calculation, and as a percentage of your tax bracket, you will pay tax on 15%. That is if the provisional income is between 32 and 44,000. And finally, if it's above 44,000, then 85% will be added back. So if we take that number, $30,000, then 85% of that is $25,500. That is added to your income, and that becomes taxable. Now, like last time, Ashok Ji, I do want to make a disclaimer that I'm not a CPA, nor am I a tax practitioner. The reasons I'm bringing up this taxation is that, again, if we do not know what you're going to earn in retirement is going to be taxed, then you might make an overestimate on the amount of money that you're going to get, and that might result in a lot of challenges in retirement. So Therefore, it is important to understand this provisional income and how the calculation of provisional income leads to social security income also being taxed. In our area and for most people in the country, 32,000 is such a low level of income that most people will go above it in terms of provisional income and will be taxed on their social security.
So, I mean, you rightly said it, and I was just thinking that the limits are so low that people would go beyond those limits. Now, what way one can plan better, because what you're going to get is all that you're going to get, and if there are tax applicable on your retirement income, you can do nothing about it. So where is the ray of hope if one plans to sit with a financial professional? It's not going to change the scenario, or will it?
Ashokji, you can change the scenario. That is the first part that I would say. Having said that, I want to first talk a little bit about some of the myths that are out there. And one myth that is very popular is that your income in retirement for the purpose of taxation is going to be lower than your income when you're working. Now, let's look at a person who's working today. Okay, mostly person who's working will also probably have a mortgage, right? So from the income, if you go to file your taxes, you get some deductions. Mortgage interest becomes a very big deduction for a lot of people. Credit for your children, as dependents, that becomes a deduction. Third, then becomes a deduction, contribution to your retirement account, that becomes a deduction. These three are pretty big deductions.
Absolutely.
That when you go into your retirement, you lose these deductions. Because first of all, children are normally independent by then, they are out of the house, so they can't be claimed as dependents. Then you would have either paid up your house, or even if you are still paying into the mortgage, the interest is very small. Most of it is principal repayment now. So that is and finally here, once you're in retirement, you're not contributing to retirement accounts, you're actually withdrawing from them. So sometimes I've seen, Ashokji, that a person who is earning $120,000 would pay the same tax as someone in retirement without the deductions, earning only $80,000.
Oh man. So that kind of, if I use a word which is not used on television, but it sucks actually. I mean, you are not making that much, but you are paying almost the same tax. But you rightly pointed out the deductions which now don't exist. So of course, the tax structure would demand you that you pay more. But what is the way out is where I would like you to help us see differently.
Right. So I would come to that again. It has to be to do with planning. That means what happens? Because we are in the in early days when we are doing our planning, because of this myth that actually our income may be lower in retirement for the purpose of taxes and therefore we are going to pay lower taxes. What we do is we sock up money into IRAs and 401k plan accounts and things like that. Now, let's look at the long-term effect of that. You have income, and from your income, in order to reduce your tax burden, you put away money into your 401k and IRA account. That reduces present taxes. And slowly over a period of 401k or your IRA account builds up. Now, you're working and you have other savings also, maybe you even have a pension. So you at 65 say that, okay, I do not want excessive income, I don't want to get into my provisional income to go up. I want to prevent my social security from being taxed. So I'll take social security income and I'll take my pension income. I won't take money out of my 401k plan, I'll just let it grow, I'll use it for emergency. Well, the IRS has a rule inside that called required minimum distribution. That means at the age of 70 and a half, you're forced to take out money from your retirement plan account. And that begins at a small percentage, 3%, but it goes up each year. I'm not going into too much details about required minimum distribution, but for the purpose of this conversation, Ashokji, it is important for everyone to note that money that we are putting into our IRAs and 401ks, they will be forced to be withdrawn, and therefore when they are withdrawn, you are forced to get an income, and when you are forced to get an income, therefore your provisional income goes up and your social security gets taxed.
It's like, for the lack of better expression, it's like catch-22 type of a scenario. So how do you help?
So I would rather actually go back a little bit and say that, there are some alternatives which you need to do from day one. So the government has given us a few provisions, like one of them being Roth IRA and Roth 401k. Roth is such an important component and it is often not looked at very carefully. Let me explain to you the difference between a regular IRA or a regular 401k and a Roth. So in a regular 401k, you put money, you don't pay tax on it just now, it grows tax deferred, and when you withdraw it, you pay taxes. In Roth, you pay tax on the money going inside, but then it grows tax deferred, that means there's no, and when you take it out, there are no taxes. Now when Roth income is coming out, which is completely income tax free, it is not added to provisional income. So you can pay choice on either the seed or you can.
That sounded good.
Yeah. You can pay that either on the seed or you can pay on the fruit. And if you do the calculation, both are equal. Okay, both are equal. But if you paid tax on the seed and let it grow via the Roth route, then when you take it out, it does not add to provisional, and your other income, the social security income, tends to be taxed. So the goal is that, while we are looking at planning with traditional IRAs and with 401ks, we want to see if there is a mechanism whereby you can contribute currently to the Roth IRA and the Roth 401 inside your planning.
Okay. So, Paresh, if I may ask you, there is someone who is already retired. Now, they didn't take into account some of the advice that you are discussing, like there's no Roth IRA or other stuff. Still, they feel that, is there any way out, because this is, am I stuck or something can be done?
Well, fortunately, there are provisions where things can still be done. So what you would need to take into account is that you would take into account the fact that there is provisions inside. So from the day that you start, let's say I already have money inside my IRA, it's about $350,000. Now because of that, I'm going to be, and it's going to be the time I retire to save 700, 800,000. That's going to force me to take distributions. RMDs, which are required minimum distributions, which are going to cause taxation. So I can say from this point onward, I'd start putting money into the Roth. That is one thing to do. The other provision out there is something called conversion of IRAs. That is also available to people, and conversion is done in a way in which you take money that is currently sitting inside your traditional IRA, you pay tax on it today, and you convert it to a Roth. Now, nowadays the IRS and the government is looking for money on taxes. So previously there was a limit that you could not do conversion to Roth unless you had some income limits and all. Now such limits are no longer applicable. So you can take as much money as you have, and in parts you convert it to Roth. Let me warn you here. This is not a one-step process, Ashokji. The reason why this is not a one-step process is, let's say somebody has $500,000 in his IRA, and his income is say $100,000. Suddenly he decides that I'm going to take this 500 and convert it to Roth. His income in that year will become $600,000, and he'll pay as high as 40-45% in taxes.
But if I may interrupt you, looking at the time constraint, and if you don't mind, we'll continue some other times, some of the areas which needs even more explanation. And I feel more I listen to you that the importance of sitting with a financial professional cannot be overstated. The point is, we see that we have money. Let's say you have money. but it may disappear if it is not taken care of, keeping in mind the rules, regulations, laws, etc., and various provisions. So, Paresh, I would once again like our viewers, if they want to get in-depth information with their specific financial setting, then they can reach out to you at 516-268-3446. And I think it helps overall when we sit with someone who knows. So the number is 516-268-3446, and the email to reach out to Paresh is pshah@pareshah.com. So pshah@pareshah.com. And this is the journey whereby we want all of us to be more prosperous. So money and prosperity comes to an end today, but the growth continues. Am I right, sir?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much,
Thanks
Ashok.
for coming, Paresh ji. And thanks to all of you with lots of good wishes. This is Ashok Vyas.